Okay, so here we are, 1191 Gaviota. This is a historic property, middle of the village, right on the corner of Brook Street and the beach access. So oceanfront, pretty sweet spot. Happen to be friends of the ex-son-in-law of the owner of this property. And our kids have kind of grown up together, and we have an opportunity to come meet, introduce ourselves to the owner, and see how she ended up arriving in Laguna and ended up here. Let's go see. We're gonna meet Carol Beauchamp. The Beauchamp family is legendary in Newport Beach, so it's kind of interesting that they end up here in Laguna. It's always interesting to hear about this. We sell real estate here in Laguna Beach. I've been here my life. We got here in 1967. What we've experienced with COVID these past 5 years and the lack of human connection, more than ever, I feel like connecting with people in our community is paramount to what we do. And that's what we're selling. It's like, do you want to live here?
I came from Chicago and then lived in Burbank, and then we moved here, and then I met my husband, Dick Beauchamp. His sister was my best friend. And then,
Oh my gosh.
And then we were all friends, and then we got together when he was in college. And
Okay.
62, we got married.
Okay.
1962.
Okay. Was he from Newport
Yeah,
already?
he was from Balboa Peninsula.
Okay. I know the Beauchamp family is pretty well known in Newport, and that's why I think it is kind of interesting that you end up here on Brook Street in Laguna Beach.
Yeah. I was married for 30 years, and then we got a divorce. We're still friends.
Yeah.
I thought, I'm moving to Laguna.
Okay.
I always loved it. So I looked around, and Danielle showed me this place, and it was really run down. I think some hippies, they rented out, and hippies lived here, and the floors were painted, and so I rented it. And it had so much soul. I just kept saying, would you sell? And she said, no. And then around 95, I think it was, when everything went bad. And then she said she'd sell it. So I lived here, rented it for 3 years, and then she sold it to me.
I got you, because that's what I saw. I saw you bought it, I think, in 97, if I'm not mistaken,
Yes,
something like
yeah.
that. Well, I noticed at the front of the house, there's a historical plaque there saying it's a historical property. And I think you got that in 2005, if I'm not mistaken, I think. But what that would be is if it's a certain level of historical relevance, you get a tax break, and that's the Mills Act that I'm talking about. And my guess is you do have that, because that plaque only goes on Mills Act properties.
Yes.
So that's a huge benefit that you have.
It is.
Did you remodel this house?
And then there were all these walls in the kitchen and little tiny areas. So my ex-husband was with me watching TV, and he was in this room, and I was in the kitchen right next to it. And I thought, and he laughed, and so I got a crowbar and a hammer, and I just beat the walls down all night long, and then called my family, and the architect told her to stop. And so that's just what we did. I knocked out a couple of walls.
But the architect, and when I looked in the city file before I got here, I went and did some research yesterday, and the architect was it Carl Iverson? Is that who you're talking about?
Yes.
Okay. Carl's a great guy,
He
a
is
guy
a
I grew
great
up
guy.
with. Now, we're also sitting at the entrance of Brook Street Beach. Brook Street is known for Brook Street Surf Contest, right? The longest running surf contest in the world.
I just love having everybody over here watching it. It's so exciting every year. It's the best.
Yeah, super fun spot, I imagine, to be here to be able to watch that.
Oh yeah, it is. And Hobie is our good friend, and so his kids come down sometimes because they grew up in Laguna, and Hobie started his boards over there. So
exactly. What have you enjoyed the most about Laguna?
I love Laguna because when I first moved here, I just said, this is me. It was a cast of characters. And you could go out and be whoever you wanted, dress however you wanted. And then when my grandkids were here, I said, I've got to get to the grocery store. And they said, we have our pajamas on. I said, no one cares. And went to Ralph's. And they said, no one even looked at us. And I said, not in Laguna. And so, and people are still so friendly here, and get to know so many people on the beach because of Dexter.
Well, I'm just the fact
so
that
many people.
Okay, just let's be real here. The fact is, I've never met this woman at all, okay? I'm sitting on her front porch or her back porch over the water spending this time. This doesn't happen in other communities, you know?
No,
only in Laguna do we get
only
to
in
do
Laguna.
this stuff, right?
Yes.
It blows me away. And we walk the streets and this kind of interaction occurs. It's super cool.
And when you're on the beach in the morning, I meet people that have come here once a year, and we become good friends, and then they get back. And so I love that. And then Corona Del Mar, the kids were growing up, it was a great little town.
Yeah.
But something happened.
Something happened over these past 5 years
Yes.
with society and humanity, and
Yeah.
I don't know, I feel like a need for human connection now more
Yeah.
than ever.
I think so, because what I've noticed during the winter now, we walk the beach at 5:36 and we go down to Main Beach, and people are out in the cold now. They just want to get outside, and it's so crowded, and it's everybody's so happy, so happy.
Real estate, you know, we have a reputation. Sometimes people like us, sometimes people don't like us. I'm just curious, do you have any memories, good, bad, about your experiences with realtors? And what is your feeling about realtors so far?
I don't have any.
Sounds like you had a positive experience with Danielle.
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
Yes,
So
she was
okay.
great.
You don't know enough of them. They're not all okay. There's a lot of problem realtors out there for sure. No, I'm kidding. Okay, so you've been here this long. You've been through you got here after the fires of Laguna. The fires in Laguna happened in 93. You get here 95-ish, right?
Yes.
I
I was here for some fires,
We've had a few smaller fires, but we had the big one in 93.
and I wasn't here, but there was a terrible one where it crossed all the way over into Corona Del Mar.
Yeah.
And my
that was
kids
it.
had to move out of their house.
How long ago was that?
I bought the house. We put that in. So 3 or 4 years earlier.
That's when it was then.
Okay, yeah, I
that
was
was
here.
the fire.
It
That
was terrible,
Yeah,
yes.
That was the fire. So you've been through that.
Yes.
They rebuild. Laguna comes, whenever Laguna's had some sort of tragedy, a
Yeah.
slide or a fire or
Right.
something, the town rallies, and it's pretty
Oh,
inspiring
it
the way
is.
we rally,
Yes,
right?
it is.
What have you seen in your time here, past 30, 40 years, that, I don't know, a memory of coming together or inspiration that you love about Laguna? Do you have a recollection or a memory like that?
No, it's just all been so good.
All good? Yeah.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
a happy place for me.
How about your experience living here? If there was something that you could change with it over those years, was there something that you're like, shoot, I wish this, or I wish Laguna
Yeah.
had this, or is there anything
No.
like that?
I just wish dogs could be on the beach without a
Hey,
leash.
that's a good one. Honestly, that's a good one. There's a lot of dog people, and it would be nice to have a dog.
everybody would love that.
Yeah.
Just for a few hours
Yeah.
in the morning.
That's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
I mean, I know everybody's talked about it, but to really try to embrace
Yeah.
that, because
Yeah.
it's a big deal for people.
Yeah. But
I mean, you just said your dog, that's your dog owns your living room, is what you
Yes,
said. The
yeah.
most valuable part of your house, the one closest to the water.
Yeah.
You basically said, we can't sit there because my dog sits there. Right?
Right.
Essentially. What's your favorite thing to do in town?
Well, I like to go out to eat, and
Where do you like to eat? Where's your favorite spots to eat?
well, it used to be Kaya's.
Yep.
Go there a lot, and then
Have you heard of the Sandpiper?
yes,
Have you been there?
I've just been in there once, but this house has seen a lot of kids that have been to the Sandpiper.
I'll bet it has.
Yes.
Okay, so I asked you about the Sandpiper because literally before we walked in here,
Yeah.
Chuck, the owner of the Sandpiper,
Yeah.
happened to be down here, so I interviewed Chuck.
Yeah.
And I asked him about the Sandpiper and when he arrived here.
Uh-huh.
And he informed me that the Sandpiper was originally a fine dining spot.
Was it really? I
Can
didn't
you believe
know.
that?
I didn't know
He
that.
said fine dining, didn't he say that?
I
Love
think
that
all the
place.
kids when they're 21 want to go to the Sandpiper.
It is. It's
Yeah.
definitely a rite of passage.
It
I
is.
think the kids, when they turn 18, they want to go
Yeah,
to the
they do.
Sandpiper
They always wanna
to
go.
see if their fake ID works
Yeah.
and they can get
Yeah.
it. What about coffee? What do you do in the morning?
Oh, I go to Laguna Coffee,
Laguna Coffee, that's a great spot.
and then sometimes Starbucks. So if I go over to Laguna Coffee, Dexter wants to go up through all the houses up there.
Yep.
And then we come down by Main Beach, and
Yep.
we sit on Main Beach for hours and then walk home. And then we walk here every night down the beach and up the hills.
So great.
Yeah, it's just so friendly and happy.
Anybody ask you if you ever want to sell your house?
Oh, yeah.
Probably every day, right? From there. Hey, you want to sell that?
Yeah, everybody thanked me for not tearing it down.
I know. It's so
Everybody
cool.
was so happy I didn't do that.
How much
Okay,
did you
when-
pay
when-
for this house?
When everything went bad, I paid 1.2.
1.2 for
Yeah,
this.
yeah. And the
Crazy.
rent was $3,000 a month back then on the ocean. How about that?
Carol, thank you so much
Oh,
for being
thank
willing to do this and letting these strangers into your house
I
to
love it.
take over on your oceanfront property. But
Yeah.
seriously, thank you.
Okay.
And I do think it only happened because of the small community that we have.
Right.
And we all know each other.
Yes, we
and
do.
A guy reached out to me, and I reached out to someone, and here we are.
Yes.
And that's how it happens in Laguna.
Right, right.
So thank
Yeah.
you so much.
Oh,
and
thank you.
I appreciate your willingness to
Fun.
do this. Thank you.
Fun.
Cool.